on this episode of the Data Nerd Podcast.
I always say, you really want to know a topic or some content, teach it. Because once you taught it, you just have a different understanding of the topic than if you just learn it by yourself.
I'm your host, Nisar Ahmed. Join me as we explore the inner data nerd inside all of us. Dive into the world of data alongside special guests who not only share their wealth of experience and knowledge, but also unveil what truly makes them data nerds. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a comment wherever you listen. And for all episodes, plus exclusive merch like the Data Nerd hat, head over to the datanerdpodcast.com. In this episode of the Data Nerd Podcast, I had the opportunity to visit the Information Lab's New York City office, where I sat with the data coach, Lisa Hitch, for a great conversation. This is also my final episode before I take a short break for the summer. I'll be back in the fall with Season 4 and a new lineup of conversations with leaders from across the data and analytics community. You've gone into content creation, all right? So you do.
I have.
You have TikTok.
Yes.
Instagram.
LinkedIn. Yes.
And you post about what's your handle? Data Coach.
The Data Coach.
The Data Coach.
Yes.
Hey, the Data Nerd and the Data Coach.
The Data Nerd and the Data Coach.
It's like a superhero
it's like
team.
A dream team.
Dream team. No, but listen, I want to inquire about this. Like, what's your story? Like, how did this get started?
Oh God, how far back do you want me to go?
Since when did the idea come about?
Okay, so the idea to create the Data Coach on social media really came about this year at Tableau Conference 2026.
Okay.
Because I just created this very small video of me. I think I was just saying some thoughts about devs on stage and the new features that are coming up. And it was a very just quick video. It was in the wind. You could hear a helicopter in the video, unedited. Yeah. I had sunglasses on, the ocean in the background. And I posted it on LinkedIn, and so many people commented and liked it. And I was like, oh, I think there is a craving for more video content and for more content where, especially in the data space, where you show your face and where you show up and where you talk authentically about real thoughts that you were having, what you like, what you don't like, the challenges you encounter. And so that sparked the idea. I'm a millennial. I only used to do Instagram. So I started out on Instagram. And then my colleagues and my friends, they were like, you should do this on TikTok. You would be great on TikTok. And at first I had some resistance because I didn't know anything about TikTok. All I knew about TikTok was that they dance there. Yeah. And so I didn't know if I can create an account that's professional, but also about data, where people take me seriously, where I don't have to dance because my dance skills are not good. But people just encouraged me, and they're like, just try it out. And yeah, that's really how it started.
I think that's how TikTok started in the early days. It's not anymore now.
No.
Actually, you could learn so much on TikTok. And I'm not just talking about from a data perspective. If you want to, for example, you're looking to go to eat somewhere, you just search on Instagram, on TikTok, and there's so many people talking about experiences, reviews, and whatnot. When you're traveling, there's so many ideas from TikTok, right? So it's really gone away from I'm sure there's still people dancing, but
right, of course.
But that's not the majority of the content there anymore. And even from a data perspective, the data content on there, I still think is not as much as it could be.
Yeah.
And I'm on TikTok too. On my podcast, I post snippets of and reels of it on there, and I find that it's engaging. It's good. Some of them do better than others.
Right.
It's all based on the algorithm, right?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I really found once I was on TikTok in the community there, that it's a very authentic community. Like people really value if you show up authentically as yourself rather than creating these fake videos and super overly edited. So I kind of really enjoy that. So I'm on a journey of just trying to show up more authentically in
I
the
like
data
that
community.
you said authentic,
Yeah.
because I think, especially now, there's a lot of content out there that is not authentic. And we're talking about like AI content,
Yep,
right?
that's what I was thinking about.
And it is for that reason. And I post on LinkedIn too. And I know you're active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn especially, the written content is very like AI influenced.
Yeah. You can see it.
You can
and
see
the
it.
comments too sometimes.
The comments too.
Yeah.
And that's why I post videos, because at least not yet. I can't replicate myself. I mean, I'm sure in the future, maybe I can get a replicate version of myself talking on my behalf. But right now, the videos are authentic. They're coming from me. They're my message. And I think people are drawn to that authenticity, and especially at this time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But it's not an easy thing to do, right? We were talking briefly before we started this recording how I started content or podcast productions and YouTube, Instagram. I'm not on Instagram, not for the Data Nerd podcast, but I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Those are my three. It was hard in the beginning because I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
It wasn't second nature to me. And especially in the beginning, it was something that I took a lot of time to get comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sticking through it and putting myself out there has helped me a lot from a professional and personal standpoint, especially with communication and confidence skills, which oftentimes introverts struggle with when they're talking and putting their face out there.
Yeah.
Is that a similar experience for you?
No, absolutely. I mean, we were talking a little bit briefly before we started recording. At the beginning, it took me so long to create a video because I just wanted it to be perfect. And I wanted to cut out all the arms and all the pauses and everything. And at some point, I just realized that if I just show up as myself, that is what people come there for. That's why they want to watch these videos.
Yeah.
And they don't want to see a robot. They don't want to see an AI person, because AI can create people now, right? They can create videos.
They can create videos, yeah.
So if that is what people want, then why are they still drawn to the authentic ones, the ones that are not so perfect? And I don't know if I'm a full-on introvert, but I'm an ambivert. I'm like in the middle between the two. Yeah. And some social interactions, they energize me. Others, they really drain me. But I found that with social media and content creation, it's an outlet for introverts to still be seen, because in the end, it's just you recording there. Like in that moment, you don't have an audience.
That's true.
So you can just talk whatever you want to talk about. You can be yourself. And it's really just the camera. Yes, in the end, a lot of people will probably see it, and that is terrifying.
But in that moment,
exactly.
It's not there, yeah. But it's funny you say that, because in your line of work, you teach people in person with an audience.
Yes.
So why is that something does this still scare you? Is that something that you're still worried about, even in your everyday life at work?
That's a really good question. I think so. For me, teaching in person, public speaking, being visible, they are nearly all the same to me. So when I started out teaching, my body had the same anxiety response as public speaking, as if I were to do a presentation, as if I were in front of a camera. I had the same anxiety, the same jitters in my hands, the same sweat. And it took me just a lot of practice in teaching to become more comfortable being visible, being on a stage, public speaking, presenting. And so I found that the better I got at teaching, the better I got at public speaking. And now that I'm creating more content, the better, and I'm still improving, but the better I'm getting being in front of the camera. Now that also helps me with teaching because now I can show up authentically in the classroom. So I feel like they're all connected.
It is all connected. I had the same dilemma when I started teaching. It kind of just fell in my lap. I didn't like really seek it out. It was I started using Tableau 10 years ago, and at that time, I created something at work that people liked, and then they started asking me questions, and they wanted me to teach them how to do it. And so I started teaching because they wanted to learn at work, and I was like, like it's not that bad. Maybe I have something to offer. And then I got into like teaching formally at these schools, and in the beginning, I don't know about you, when I remember doing my very first class, and I prepared for it was a 2 hour class. I must have prepared for 8 hours for that 2 hour class. And I recorded myself, the audio on that first class. And after the class, I listened to the whole thing because I was
all 2 hours.
All 2 hours because I was so worried about, how do I sound like? Am I good? Like, even to this day, like I've been teaching for over 8 years now. Even to this day, I still sometimes doubt myself. Like, am I good enough to teach? Do I know enough? But you know what I realized, and you tell me if you realize the same thing, is you don't have to know everything to teach.
True. And the best teachers don't actually know everything.
Why?
I think the best teachers are the ones that don't just teach the knowledge, but they teach you skills and soft skills. And so knowing how to teach and role model to go out and find information rather than knowing everything, like that's a skill that people need. And so if you can role model that as a teacher, it will inspire your students to be like, okay, this person also doesn't know everything, but they know how to get the answer. They know where to go. They know how to ask for help.
That's the skill set you need.
Yeah.
Right. And just being able, actually, I learned by teaching.
Yeah. So much.
When I first got my first teaching gig, I had to teach SQL and Tableau.
Okay.
Like, do I know enough SQL? And granted, I've only been using Tableau for less than a year, so I'm not an expert level, but I actually learned by teaching because it forces you to get to a certain level that you're comfortable enough teaching.
Yeah.
And to your point, even if you don't know it, it's not a bad thing. People are not going to look down on you.
No,
just say, okay, we'll figure it out. And that's especially now, it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I always say, if you really want to know a topic or some content, teach it.
Teach it.
Because once you taught it, you just have a different understanding of the topic than if you just learn it by yourself.
Yeah, that's completely true. How long have you been teaching for?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, in a more official role, 3.5 years. But I did do like smaller workshops in the past when I was a little younger. So I started out way back in 2018, 19 at a mental health startup back in Germany, where I was teaching mental health workshops, and we were teaching that to leaderships and corporations. And so I helped out a little bit there, and I always liked that part of my job the most. I was a community manager back then, but these little teachings and workshops, webinars, I love those the most. Then I didn't teach for a while I did my master's in public health. And then I applied for a role to be a TA, a teaching assistant, for a stats class, biostatistics. And it was similar. I had that same feeling where I took the class and then I became a teaching assistant, and now I had to teach some part of the content. And I doubted myself whether I actually really knew the content, because just because you make it through a class doesn't necessarily mean you can teach it.
Yeah.
And then from there, that was in 2023. And then from there, I took an adjunct position to teach that class that I was a TA for. So applied biostatistics 1. And then in 2023, I also applied to the information lab as part of the data school to become a data consultant. So I was consulting for 2.5 years. And then at the end of last year, December 2025, I became a coach as part of the data school. So as that part of the role, I am now coaching career transitioners to become data consultants. And that is a lot of teaching Tableau and SQL and Alteryx, a little bit of Power BI, but also just a lot of soft skills, honestly, like how to do public speaking, presenting, how to communicate clearly, all of that.
Those are important skills now, right? And
the most important, I would say.
Well, the most important because of AI coming on the scene? Is that why? Or do you think it's amplified more because of it?
I think it's amplified more. I don't think that we only need those skills now because of AI. We always needed them and they were always in high demand. But AI now can do a lot of the technical skills. Basic SQL, AI is probably better than most humans. Well, in certain scenarios, but let's say that for now. And AI can build charts now. AI can build dashboards now. Whether they're really good and whether they really capture the business needs, I doubt that. But that's where we need these soft skills. That's where we need people to really understand the business and how to communicate insights and all of that.
Okay, so if somebody's listening to this and saying, okay, if AI can do all of that for us, why should I learn how to be a data analyst? Why should I learn Tableau? Is there a benefit there?
There absolutely is. So I think I have two answers to that.
Okay.
The first answer and the first reason is we need people to critically evaluate what AI is doing, because we don't want to just blindly trust what AI is doing. And that goes for Tableau, but it also goes for other languages, that goes for coding languages like SQL or Python or something. If we just take whatever AI is giving us without really critically being able to evaluate whether that makes sense, we won't be able to solve the data problems that we have in our world. And with that, what also comes with that is that we need that context around it. AI has limited amount of memory and it appears to understand the context, but the real human context behind data, that's still only to be understood by humans.
Because the skill set is not just a technical skill.
Exactly.
To be good at any skill, I'm not just talking about Tableau. It's not how do you create a chart and how do you create a dashboard, technically speaking. It's how do you tell a story, and you need the context. You need to understand the stakeholders. You have to understand the messaging, the audience, best practices, and how you use color. I remember you had a post on that about using color, and I think I commented on that. I said I called it purposeful use of color, right?
Exactly.
And so what happens is oftentimes people start using so much color, it defeats the purpose of using color because it just becomes distracting.
Yeah, and AI colors everything.
AI colors everything. So you need to understand that. Yeah. Because when you're looking at that, you need to say, is this the right thing to do or not? Exactly. You're not going to just publish that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you still need that critical eye and understanding, but then the human skill set comes in, right? Communicating those insights.
Yeah.
Is important.
Absolutely. And I think a thought that I actually had this morning, and I recorded a video. I didn't post it yet, so this thought is here first. Is that eventually our decision-making process is a human decision-making process. There are humans and emotions involved in decision-making, but we're nearly trying to get to that decision-making process with just logical AI data with like a checkbox of requirements. I want to see this KPI. I want to see this bar chart over time or this line chart over time. But then in the end, our decision making still involves those humans and those emotions and the big context around everything. And so we still need that humanness back in the data pipeline, because if we just do everything with AI and then expect the decision to be human, we have a problem. Like something doesn't add up here.
That's
what do
true.
you think about that?
Yeah, I think they call it human in the loop.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's still very important. But you touched on something about emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone's listening and like, who cares about emotion? Like, this is no, I'm not saying when we're talking about humans, yes, we do have to care about emotions, right? But I'm talking in the data world,
data-driven
decisions, what role does emotion play in there? Why is that important?
So, in my opinion, because we're humans, everything will always be emotional. Like there's no decision or human experience where emotions don't influence us. And even you were talking about color in dashboards. Even color creates emotions. If I use a red that's really harsh, that creates an emotion in me, that creates some type of reaction. And I can make use of that, or I can try to avoid that depending on what the purpose is and what the context is and why I need to use that color. So let's say you have a bar chart and you have a target line in your bar chart, and each bar is either above or below the target. You can, and that goes back to the data storytelling you mentioned before, you can color all the bars that meet the target in a nice green, which creates a nice emotion. We're trending well. Or you can color all the bars that don't meet the target in a very aggressive red, for example. And that creates a completely different emotion.
Narrative, yeah. And the emotion is what triggers people to remember the story and also act on it.
Exactly.
Because, so I'll give you two examples. One, where somebody goes up and is giving a presentation and is presenting the KPIs, right? And saying, okay, we're trending, we're meeting our targets, and this KPI, we're not meeting this, and our number is this year over year, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'll talk for half an hour about all the numbers. After that meeting, are you going to remember all of that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Now, somebody else will do the same presentation, but they're going to come in and they're going to tell a story. They're going to say, I'm here, and provide that context on why they're presenting what they're presenting. And there's a whole story arc similar to how you watch a movie, right? People watch movies because they're entertaining, and they'll remember it because of the storytelling, right?
Exactly.
If you think back to the movies that are your favorite movies and you remember, what is it about those movies that make you enjoy them, like them, and remember them?
Well, emotions is a big part.
Emotions.
But also
how it made you feel.
How it made me feel, but also how it relates to me. Like if I can find myself in the movie, then I like the movie a lot more.
How you relate to it too. And so those two things, even in a data story, you have to make it relatable.
Yes.
If you're talking about something that someone doesn't care about, why are they going to listen?
They're not going to listen.
And then you need to tell it in a story because it's not for entertainment purposes. It's so that they remember it and they can take action on it.
Yeah.
the end of the day, humans don't have a large attention span.
That's true.
That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I think even more so now because of social media,
Yep.
right? And we're talking about putting social media content out there, but we also do it like I find like short form social media is effective because people don't, the attention span, right?
Yeah.
But in real life too, people don't have the attention span to listen to numbers for half an hour.
Yep.
So you need to take them through that journey and tell the story. And so going back to my example, so I'm someone who provides the context, relating to you as the audience and saying, I'm telling this story because I'm trying to solve this problem. This is what I found, and here is my key insight, and this is what we need you to do to be successful and solve this problem. You're going to remember that.
Definitely.
Right?
Absolutely.
No, you won't remember the person who just talked about numbers for half an hour because, like, why? Like, I mean,
it doesn't relate to me.
It doesn't relate. Yeah. It doesn't relate to you.
My favorite tip that I give our new hires who are becoming data consultants, when they're presenting dashboards, my favorite tip is to tell them, so when they're presenting, I tell them, put yourself in your stakeholders or your manager's shoes. So you can start your presentation by saying, if I had your job, what I would look at this dashboard first is X, Y, and Z. And if I had to make a similar decision to what you have to make in your job, then in this scatter plot, I would look at the top right quadrant, or I would look at the bottom left quadrant. And so even by just using simple language like that, you can get your stakeholder or your manager to listen to you because you relate it back to them and what they have to do.
Such a key component.
Yeah.
Putting yourself in their shoes.
Exactly.
What's important to you is not important to them.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people sometimes. You know why? You may be spending days or weeks working on a project.
You're so attached.
And you're so attached to it, and you want to communicate how much time and effort it took to get to this insight. But at the end of the day, does it really matter to them? They just want to know, like, so what's in it for me?
Yeah. I have a funny story about that, actually. Okay. I was working with a client a couple of years ago, and I built a dashboard that I was very proud of. It was one of my first clients I've ever worked with. And so I was very attached to that dashboard, obviously. And then I presented that dashboard not to my manager, but to their boss. So it was a high pressure situation. I had a 5-minute presentation prepared. Similar to you, I prepared for those 5 minutes for like an hour.
Yeah.
I had this perfect presentation planned. And then during the presentation to the boss's boss, basically, I started out with whatever I was saying about my dashboard. I probably started out a little bit boring by just describing the KPIs. And within probably 20 seconds, they interrupted me and they were like, oh, I want to look at this data point at the bottom right of the dashboard. And that's all we talked about. And then like the presentation was over and I basically didn't really say anything anymore.
You didn't get your message across.
I didn't get my message across. We didn't look at all the other charts. We didn't even look at the second page of the dashboard because the only thing that person was interested in was that one data point in that one chart that was on the bottom right, which was, I put it there because I thought it wasn't important, but it was important to them.
So what did you do wrong there? You did not take that, you didn't put yourself in their shoes.
I didn't put myself in their shoes. I didn't know that their attention span was so short, not in a negative way, in a, they are so incredibly busy. They are leading big teams. They don't have time to listen to even a 5-minute presentation was too long.
Yeah.
They had 30 seconds. I put the chart that was most important to them in the bottom right when I should have put it in the top left. Because usually when we read, we start in the top left.
Placement is important.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just started out in a very generic, descriptive way, similar to what you just described, like the KPIs. So yeah, learn from me and don't do that.
Well, I mean, and that's, you learn from your experiences, right?
Absolutely.
And what you were describing here, as a human, you understand that.
Yeah.
AI won't.
Exactly.
They'll just place things randomly, and they won't necessarily know what the audience or what the stakeholder is looking for, or what's important to them,
or why.
Or
like,
why,
yes, you can tell AI, oh, don't put it in the bottom right, put it in the top left. But then why? Why did this approach not work, but the other approach works?
Yeah. Now we're talking a lot about AI, and I feel like we're giving it a bad rap because we're talking negatively
Oh,
about
I
it.
love AI.
But no, AI is great. You know,
I love AI.
I think especially like we are at a time now where like this is a time where you can really take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And grow with it, and have it help you.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, we're talking about, you know, how we can focus on some of the human elements and soft skills and whatnot. But at the same time, we can still leverage AI to help us.
Yeah.
So talk about how AI is helping in the data space. Like how can we leverage it? How is it working for us? You know, so let's give it some love.
Oh, I absolutely love AI. I am actually doing a part-time PhD while I also work full-time as a coach.
Okay.
And my PhD is in public health, and I'm researching how people use ChatGPT or Claude, generative AI, to access health information. And so it's really about what type of data are they asking about? Are they asking about symptoms? Are they asking about how to take medication? Are they uploading lab reports because they don't understand what the data in the lab reports is telling them? So I'm still researching all of that, but yeah, I love AI. I think AI has a lot of advantages. In the more traditional data analyst space, how I use AI is, first of all, and this has been so helpful to me, to be more concise, because I like writing long emails. I like writing long blog articles that no one's reading. And so to just write down my thoughts, write a first draft of a blog article, and then put it into AI to say, hey, can you make this shorter? Can you make it more concise? That has been so helpful to me.
It's almost like hiring a personal assistant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or a coworker that you're running ideas by.
Exactly. And brainstorming, bouncing ideas off of each other.
It's great for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use it all the time for brainstorming, ideation, ideas. Because essentially what generative AI is an enhanced search tool.
Yeah.
Before AI, what did we do? We went to Google and we went to all the sites and links and did the research ourselves. Now we're having AI do it for us and customizing it for us and giving it to us. I'll give you a story. It's kind of unrelated, but sort of related. When you shop online and you're checking out, they always ask for a promo code.
Right.
What I used to do was Google search promo codes, and they'd take you to these random sites that have so many ads, and you have to click and do this or sign up for this. Try 10 codes. None of them work. Now what do? I go into ChatGPT and I say, I'm checking out on this site. Give me all the active promo codes.
No way.
And it gives it to me, and they all work.
Wow.
Like, and I don't have to go through these random sites and click through all these ads to do it.
So I take your ChatGPT camp because I'm Claude.
So I started off with ChatGPT, and I'll tell you why I'm still with them.
Okay.
Yes, I know a lot of people are migrating to Claude, but I think they both have their uses.
Yeah.
They're
slightly different.
They're slightly different. For me, I use ChatGPT a lot for my podcasts. I've created a custom GPT for this Data Nerd podcast.
Perfect.
And I fed it all the information it needs, and it knows everything about me. And I feel like it's been on this journey from the beginning with me. And it's served me well, and I'm attached to it. I've developed an emotional connection to ChatGPT. It doesn't mean I'm not going to use Claude. And Claude has its benefits. But there's no reason for me to
leave ChatGPT. Sounds like a relationship.
It sounds like a relationship, yeah.
Like, yeah, it does, right? But
Yeah.
that's my story, and I know, like, and I know people are switching over. Did you start with ChatGPT? Have you made the switch?
I did. I made the switch probably 4 or 5 months ago, I
Okay.
think. Similar to you, I didn't want to switch because ChatGPT knew so much about me.
Mm.
I saw online someone saying that you can download all your data and then feed it
Yes.
into Claude. I don't know. I was a little skeptical of doing that, even though I know that ChatGPT has all my data, but just downloading it and putting it into something else felt a
Yeah.
little weird. So I didn't want to do that. But I basically started over with Claude just for certain tasks where Claude didn't need to know a lot about me. But then I really like the language and how more concise it is. And
Yeah.
it doesn't butter me up as much as ChatGPT.
Yes, it doesn't butter you up. Yeah.
So
It's more direct, right?
And so over time, I I started a new relationship with Claude.
So now, have you ended your relationship with ChatGPT?
Yeah, I have ended it.
Okay. Good. So you're at least you're sticking to one.
Yeah. No. I'm just like, yeah.
No, but in all honesty,
one
there's
AI.
nothing wrong with using multiple
No, not at all.
LLMs, right?
It's not humans.
It's not humans.
Yeah.
Not yet. So you use Claude for what it's good for. You use ChatGPT for what it's good for. There's nothing wrong with that. People tend to think you have to be on one camp or the other.
Oh.
Or even Gemini. Gemini was at one point, like, I feel like it's gone like on the back burner now. Like, I remember Gemini was like leading the charge at one point.
That's true.
Gaining a lot of momentum. I don't hear as much about it anymore.
Not as much.
Copilot is kind of like, it's there, and I think people use it because that's what most organizations are using.
Yeah.
That's what's available to them. And but it does get a bad rap. I think worse than it deserves, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I do use it at work, and it's not as bad as people think it is.
Yeah.
But even within Copilot, you can use Claude models.
Oh.
So they have the ability to choose.
To integrate.
You can use ChatGPT models or Claude models. Now, it's not the same as using like the native Claude itself, right? But it still has the ability to do that.
Not bad.
Yeah. But how has AI changed? So we're talking about it from a user standpoint. What about from teaching? Like, how has your teaching or what you teach changed with AI on the scene now?
So for me, I am a teacher. I don't believe in like forbidding AI with my students, whether that's at grad school or here at the data school.
You shouldn't, right?
Exactly. Because how would students learn how to use these tools if we forbid them to use them? So I'm more of a teacher who allows those tools, but I always say in a smart way. Use them to do your work more effectively and to use them smartly. So my example is always, I still try and draft my own blog articles, and then I use AI to enhance them rather than just shutting off my brain and just asking ChatGPT or Claude to write my blog article for me. So use them to bounce ideas off, to generate ideas, but don't use the tool to do the work that you can be doing, or to just
it should still be your original thoughts and ideas.
Exactly.
And you just have to use it as a tool to help you guide and curate what you want to produce, right?
Exactly. So one example is in data consultancy and data analysis. I think that's a very common example. When you encounter a new client or a new company that you are producing a report for, usually you would probably go to Google and like do some research, some background research on that company. And you can still do that, but you can also go to AI first and see what type of summary you get about this company from AI. And then it might give you like a summary of like high level what the company is about. And then if you have more questions, you can always go back to Google and like kind of dig a little bit deeper, or even ask follow-up questions to your clients or your stakeholders or whoever you're interacting with. And it just saves you so much time to just having to Google and clicking through all the websites and pulling all of that information yourself. So you're faster.
It's saving you time to do things that you don't want to do anyways.
Exactly.
Right? Like, did you enjoy clicking on all these sites and going and doing the research?
No. Yeah.
So, and then essentially what it does is it frees up time for you to focus on things that are important.
Exactly.
So what's important now? If AI can do a lot of the things that may have taken you a lot of time to do, and I'm assuming most of the things are repeatable processes or technical in nature where you may have taken a lot of time for you to do manually before, right? Which you may or may not have enjoyed it but for the most part, most people probably don't.
Right.
So now if AI is doing that work for you, now where should your focus be?
That's a good question. I think the focus should be more on the soft skills we already touched upon. So critical thinking, understanding businesses and contexts, building relationships, not with the AI, but with actual humans.
With actual humans, yeah.
Just having coffee chats with people, if you're in an organization, whether that's your manager or other team members, understanding their roles so that you can put yourself in their shoes. And honestly, if you look at corporate jobs, often people don't have the time to have coffee chats, or they're saying, oh yeah, of course I would like to understand more about what decisions my stakeholder is doing, but I don't have the time to invest in that. Well, now we have AI and we can save more time so that we can invest it in building relationships and understanding people better.
The model has changed so much though. Like it almost sounds like I graduated with a degree in information systems. I didn't take very many classes on communication.
Yeah, true.
That was not the focus then.
Yeah.
Are we going to see more of those type of classes now in the realm of information system degrees, or like is that like a whole separate skill set that we need to kind of learn on top of the technical?
If I had a magic wand, yeah, I would probably put more communication classes in degrees. I would probably require certain communication, public speaking classes in most every degree, because I think it's so important, especially in data, but in most degrees, in most fields, to have these soft skills. Unfortunately, I think the reality is that we're actually seeing more an uptick of these exact more technical fields like data analytics. And yes, within data analytics, you could have communication, but we do see more of an uptick of data science, computer science, of the hard technical skills and classes of that. And I fear for the people who come into the education field or like take higher education classes and just focus on these technical skills and neglecting the soft skills, which is what will really accelerate their careers.
That's what I did when I was learning. I didn't focus on the soft skills. And it took me some time to realize that it's actually, like, to be honest, like when I started putting myself out there, creating content and whatnot, that's when it started to hit me. I'm like, this is important, and this actually is something that people can relate to, and like, I think when I started teaching, that's when I started realizing that.
Yeah.
I feel like not many people used to talk about data storytelling.
No, not at all.
It's a relatively new, I wouldn't say new, but more recent skill set. So I had a podcast where we talked about the top skills in job postings for data analytics jobs. And my guest, his name is Dustin Shimek. You may know him, right?
Know him.
So he puts together a data jobs report because he posts jobs every week. So he has his inventory and database of jobs and skills. And I've been for 3 years listening to his or reading his reports, and the last couple ones he's been on the podcast and talking about them. Data storytelling has slowly moved its way into that top 10.
Yeah.
Right? It's becoming more and more important.
Yeah.
You're seeing that. And it's funny because now, like with AI, it's almost, there's a correlation.
Yeah.
Right? AI is becoming more, is more important, but now so is the data storytelling skill set.
Yeah. And I think what comes with that also, and you see that in job postings too, is to be more flexible and adaptable or tool agnostic. I think in the past we saw a lot of job postings that said Tableau skills. And now when you look at job postings, you see Tableau, Power BI, or similar visualization softwares.
Yeah, most jobs will be like that now.
Exactly. And so I think just being adaptable, being flexible, being able to tell a story, being able to relate to humans and what decisions they need to make is just going to be something that's going to become more and more important, especially now that we have AI.
Yeah. So if you're somebody who's new or wants to get into the space of data analytics, or even if you're a working professional who has a different career and want to get into it, what advice would you give to them now? Like what, obviously we talked about soft skills and whatnot, and maybe they already have that. Okay. So let's suppose you do have those soft skills and communication skills. Maybe you're in sales and you're very good at communicating and building relationships, but you want to get into analytics. What do I need to focus on from the technical side of things now?
I would say diverse skills, like diverse technical skills is still important. So think about some type of data preparation skills, whether that is SQL or Tableau Prep or Ultrix or Power Query, some type of data visualization skills, whether that's Tableau or Power BI or something else, and then having those communication skills as well. And I think just having the soft skills also isn't really enough in today's world. You also need to showcase that you have those skills. And yes, maybe if you make it into an interview, you could showcase that. But often we don't even get to the interviews because we get rejected by AI based on our resumes.
How do you do it?
Well, social media, content creation is an amazing part for that, to just showcase your knowledge, your expertise, how you communicate, and having a public portfolio, whether that is on GitHub or a Tableau Public, where you can showcase these dashboards that you build and you can write like little descriptions about the background and the context and who this is for, so that people know the thinking behind your dashboard and not just how the dashboard looks.
Yeah. I've seen posts out there on LinkedIn of people saying, "Oh, dashboards are dead." I'm sure you've seen them too.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like we don't need to know how to build dashboards anymore. I have an opinion on them, but I'd like to hear yours.
Well, why do people say that? I think
because they can have AI build it for you. But we talked about what can go wrong with it, right?
Exactly.
It's the quality is not there.
Yeah, I think,
and there's errors, and it's not always accurate.
Exactly, and I think until AI gets so good that it can actually take all of that context and all of the humanness in data and put it into a dashboard, I think until we have that, we still need to build dashboards. And also, when people say dashboards are dead, they don't actually mean that dashboards are dead. They mean that us humans building dashboards are dead, because they are assuming that AI can build now these dashboards.
They can build it for them. Yeah. Here's how I look at it. Okay, so you and I are we are in the dashboard development. Like we know how to develop dashboards, so we know what to look for, how to build it, how to design it, and whatnot. If they're saying that they don't need us anymore to do it because they can just ask AI directly, will they know what questions to ask AI?
Exactly.
Will they know where the data lives? How the data is structured?
Yes.
Are they going to be able to structure the data? Because AI is not just a magic form. It's not just magic that you sprinkle on top of your data and it's going to just fix everything, right?
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be great, but there are many instances where the data is not ready for AI. And that's part of the job too.
Yeah. And one thing we didn't even talk about is hallucinations.
Yeah.
So AI can build you a dashboard, but then your revenue numbers are completely hallucinated, for example, or they don't match up with your other reports. So
are you saying I'm gonna go to my CEO and be like, give him a blank slate and a chat bot and say, here, build a dashboard, get your story. First of all, he's not gonna have the time to do it.
Well, it takes,
or may not even know what data is out there to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
That's not his job.
Exactly.
It's for us to present it to him because we know what's important to him. And he knows what's important too, but like it's almost like going a little backwards.
Yeah.
You're making them do more work.
Exactly.
Not less work.
Yeah. That's true. But to do that, we need to understand that person first. We need to build that relationship. We need to know the context. We need to know what their role looks like, what decisions they need to make. We need to have those coffee chats and build those relationships so that then we can put ourselves in their shoes and ask those questions and make their lives easier.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot today.
We did.
AI perspective, teaching, learning, content creation,
humans
and
data, relationships with AI.
relationships with AI. But great, getting back to the content creation, and I'll end with this, right? Like, you've started it recently, right? It hasn't been a long time.
Like 6 weeks.
Yeah. But have you found that it's helped you?
Yes.
Because when some people think about content creation, they think that people just create it just to get likes.
I don't care about that.
or make money.
Right.
This is not.
Yeah.
I don't make money on anything I produce here. It's done as a hobby, right? And it has helped me personally from a confidence standpoint, from exposure, networking.
Yeah.
What better way is there to network than if I did not have this podcast? What are the chances that I would be talking to you?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it gives me leverage to use. I'm not saying I'm taking advantage of
good
people,
leverage,
but good leverage, right? Like I'm saying, okay, I have a podcast, and like I reached out to you and I said, do you want to be on it? I'm offering you something, and it's giving you an opportunity too, right? But at the same time, it's an opportunity for both of us to now network and then create those relationships, and it's opened up doors for me to create relationships even when I'm not seeking those relationships. People are reaching out to me and messaging me, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that human interaction, and I think it's great. Some people may be, you know, introverted and maybe are not comfortable with that, and I still am. Like if I'm in a large group setting, I'm not a person that's going to speak up. I listen more than I speak, and I still am that way, even if I have a podcast. That's just who I am, and it's not going to change. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So, you know, I hope that you continue with your content production because I enjoy watching them, and they're great. And the more people that we can try to motivate to do the same thing, I think the better it'll be.
I appreciate you saying that, and I completely agree. I think that creating content for me has been so beneficial in terms of just voicing my thoughts, having a space to voice my opinions and my thoughts, to connect with other people, even if it's just like a little comment here and there or a little message, but just these little interactions.
Yeah.
And then also just sharing what I know. I think sharing is my purpose in whatever way that is, whether that's teaching or coaching or sharing content on social media. And so just having another outlet to share more and to connect people, to make this data space a bit more welcoming for all types of people, whether that is women or career transitioners, for example. Mm-hmm. But then also for me personally, there has been so much improvements in how I speak, how I show up, how I can show up authentically as myself, how the confidence that you mentioned, that let alone. And yeah, the networking is a nice bonus as well. And I'm not doing it for any money. I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling a coaching program or something like that. I literally just want to share what's on my mind. And it's an amazing outlet for that. And I would just honestly recommend for any beginner to try it out, to just learn more about yourself by creating that content and just sharing what you know.
And don't focus on the likes.
Yeah.
Who cares?
On the views. Who cares?
On the reviews, yeah. It doesn't matter. And you don't have to put together a big production.
No.
Like, I'm not telling people to start a podcast.
No.
You said even commenting on other people's posts is putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
You're commenting, it doesn't have to be video necessarily. If you're comfortable writing, write.
Exactly.
Right?
Blogs, LinkedIn posts.
LinkedIn posts. You create a dashboard, put it out there and explain like what's the story behind it.
Yeah.
What are some of your takeaways? You know what one of the most popular posts that I put out there, or the one that gets the most engagement, are the ones where I would see these charts that I would see them on social media, and I see all these holes in them. I'm like, this is not a good chart.
Yeah.
It's not created the right way. And I point out what's wrong with them and what I would do to improve them. And those are the ones that resonate the most with people and people engage with the most.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times those are AI generated.
Yeah.
You can tell.
You can definitely tell.
Yeah. But even something like that, just don't be afraid to share it. Ask yourself the question, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. And don't be afraid to appear cringe or to fail even. Like, I think a lot of people, they don't want to put themselves out there because they don't like how their voice sounds, or they think some other people might judge them.
I hated the way my voice sounds.
Really?
Like, I was like, I don't have a good voice. And that was my the thing. That's the reason I didn't want to do YouTube videos or podcasts. I'm like, my voice is not great. But like at the end of the day, like that's my voice and that's how people hear me. It's just that when we hear our own voices, it sounds different. And we think it's not good for that reason. But other people don't think the same
they don't
thing.
perceive us the same way.
Yeah. They don't perceive it the same way. So don't let that stop you.
Yeah. And unless you put yourself out there and you take that scary step to create that content, you won't get that feedback that actually people don't even perceive you that way. So it's nearly like this vicious cycle where you think people will judge you, so you don't put it out there. And then that belief in your mind gets stronger, so you don't put content out there, and then you never do it. But if you can break that, if you can break out of it and just take that scary step, you actually see that it's very liberating in a way.
It is. And then eventually you hear your voice enough and you become used to it. You're like, oh,
exactly.
This is how I sound. And this has been great, Lisa, but let us know how people can reach out to you.
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Lisa Hitch, and I am on Instagram and TikTok, the data coach, the data coach. And yeah, just reach out to me. I always love connecting with people. I love hearing stories. I love hearing how people either got into data analytics or into data, or if you're in a completely different field like marketing or whatever, sales, for example.
Yeah.
I love hearing if you want to move into data, what would help you. And yeah, I just love connecting with people.
You're very engaging as well. When people comment, I've noticed that you do engage, and people take the time and effort to write, and I think it's good that you engage back. I try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
And I love giving feedback. If people ever want to get feedback on like a dashboard, I always love giving feedback.
Yeah, that's doing great. Listen, we should do this again. Maybe do some type of collaboration in the future. Who knows?
I love that. Do part 2.
Part 2. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and leave a rating or review. It really helps more data nerds discover the show. You can find all episodes, plus exclusive merch like the Data Nerd hat, and more at thedatanerdpodcast.com. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and embrace your inner data nerd.